3, 2.
It was tall, and its skin was made of
Zeitgeist Zealots. Hey everyone, welcome to Zeitgeist Zealots. I'm Forrest.
I'm Major.
I'm Robbie.
Matt.
Guys, I don't know if you've heard, but much like Rings of Power, the reviews for Joker 2 are not that good so far. And I mean, is anyone really surprised at all?
Well, obviously, all movies are made to make money, but this especially was, I think,
A cash
only
grab.
forced to existence to get money that
I don't know. It seems logical. He's locked up in Arkham. It's a musical, but they're not telling anyone. Like, they're not showing it in the commercials, which is a tall tale sign that it's going to be a flop. It's going to be a terrible movie.
Benjamin Parker.
No Parker. Sweeney Todd now, and he will have his revenge.
Is when the movie is a musical, but they don't show them singing songs. They don't show that's a musical in the commercials. Try to trick the audience.
It's actually a musical?
It's actually a musical. Yeah, it's kind of Lady Gaga.
Are you kidding me?
No.
No. So I'm really disappointed because after the first Joker, I really thought, this is kind of this like Art Nouveau, like this is very like it could go in this really cool
Taxi
thing,
Driver.
and then they have Lady Gaga in it, but maybe like this is the one time where she does something super awesome. I had high expectations for this. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I will tell you, and the fans who love Joker 1, they will be redoing the iconic stairs scene, but with both of them. Are you happy, fans? Is that what you want? Or do you guys want an overpriced piece of shit we like to call a PlayStation 5 Pro? You guys heard about this? Who wants to spend
the $700?
$700 on a console?
Multiple.
Doesn't have a disc drive. $80 extra if you want to buy a disc drive.
And $20 for the stand to hold it up.
Sold separately.
That's
$800
ridiculous.
for the whole shebang. What?
And it's not a huge difference on the side-by-sides they're even showing.
Holy shit, dude.
It's like that meme where it's like, find the difference between these two pictures. And
Right.
it's the same.
It's
Like I
so
was looking
difficult.
on Twitter or X, and I literally do not see.
Oh, the side-by-side comparisons are
enough
so
of-
dumb.
Is it $700 worth of difference?
Exactly.
No.
At that price point, I can build myself a PC. And do a lot better.
At that price point, I better be able to act out Concord.
This is not the first time that Sony has gotten into a price point issue. And remember the PS3 when it first launched, was it the Pro? Same thing with like a $500 console. Everybody balked at.
This is way back before
This
Biden
is-
dollars. Yeah,
Yep,
this is
yep,
way
yep.
back when
This
it
is
meant money.
this is just Sony being Sony, I feel.
Oh man, poor Japanese. We bombed the fuck out of them, and then we made them take on capitalism. And now look at them charging us $700 for a video game console, $800 if we want to be able to use it properly. Absolutely ridiculous. But also, maybe something you guys didn't know that's a little ridiculous. At least I thought so. Guys, Middle Earth isn't fiction. It's a real story. It's nonfiction. It's based on true events, and we're currently living in the 7th Age, according to Tolkien, and some letters he passed around in 1953 and 1956.
And what's this about a 7th Age? Well, let's start with a 1958 letter he wrote to Rona Beer.
Elaborate a little bit more, but basically talking about how Jesus coming down to earth was the end of the
that's the start of the
6th
fourth
age. That was the end of the 6th age, and we're in the 7th age now. And I just thought, wow, at least I'll provide just a modicum of fun facts before we dive into Rings of Power. Episode 5, Halls of Stone. We all know Forrest's favorite plot line is the dwarves, and this episode is dwarven heavy.
And my axe.
Oh man, this is like cocaine for dwarf lovers. This episode.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of cocaine
like
for dwarf
Speaking of
lovers,
Dwarf lovers.
I want to shout out to Forrest. Amazon confirmed that they are doing all 5 seasons of Rings of Power. So we're not going anywhere.
I
With the
did see that.
same showrunners.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
But
I didn't see that. That's a good point.
I just got to make a point here. If they do all 5 seasons, how is it going to be paced? Because I find that Amazon has been atrocious with adapting
Late delivery.
nerd books, and Wheel of Time being another disappointment, where they're going to do 3 books in 1 season. I don't know how you do that with Robert Jordan. I get that you can't make 13 seasons of a show about Wheel of Time, but it's of all the companies adapting nerd stuff, I feel Amazon has been the worst.
Can I do you one better? I think that they've said that they're not skipping time anymore in the TV show, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm remembering this quote for this television show correctly, they're not skipping ahead. Oh no, that's House of the Dragon. Sorry, House of the Dragon. They're not skipping ahead anymore. Never mind. We might see some skipping ahead.
No, you just opened up another can of worms there. George R. R. Martin actually has come out in blog posts against what HBO has done to his book.
Look what they've done to my boy. Yeah. You know what?
But
shut up and fucking write.
That's crazy because it's HBO.
Yeah, but it is pretty interesting.
But like I said, Amazon is so much worse. They
can't help themselves. But, we can't help ourselves with. And that's talking about Rings of Power. So let's just get into it. I thought the Easter eggs were in season this episode. It wasn't quite as heavy as like the Ents and Tom Bombadil like last episode. But you got the little door from Khazak Dûn where, the password is friendship in Elven or whatever from Lord of the Rings, right? Here's a couple more member berries for the people who wanted them.
Who was that guy who Elendil like Valandil? He died this episode. I did not care. I just did not care. Which shows you how bad the writing is.
Put it down, son. That's an order.
Like, I'm going to be stabbed through the heart, through a sword, and I can feel nothing.
Nothing.
Like, oh no.
But wait, did you feel anything for the dwarves when they were able to use their new rings to discover the light again? He's like, no, dig here. And then
one thing
that's not where I would dig.
One thing I felt was that 150 gold. What was that she bought? That orb.
Oh yeah. And then she rolled all the way down. And then, we're hinting the Balrog. We're hinting at the Balrog.
Bought that and
yeah.
That a total of like a minute.
God forbid you start the season with the Balrog when you desperately need ratings. But let's wait till like the end of season 2.
Well, they started season 1 with it, and they showed it off. I mean, I think the characters I would be worried about seeing the Balrog and their what they would do with the character design. But we saw him in season 1. He looks fantastic. This is definitely going to be like a season 2 finale kind of reveal. I think he's going to maybe wreck some chaos, probably.
And hopefully,
or is it
all
too
the
soon?
dwarven characters are killed, so we never have to hear or see of them again.
Well, 4 of the 7 rings do get eaten by dragons. That would be fun to see in the Second Age if that's where we're at.
I know, because that way they wouldn't have to introduce any other interesting dwarf characters. We'll stick with the same boring 3 that we've seen.
I think it's kind of wild how in this season we see that just a little bit of mithril that goes into the rings, and then those 3 elven rings were able to save all the elves so they can stay on Middle Earth. And then you flash forward a couple thousand years, and then there's Frodo just wearing a dress of mithril, right? There's just so much mithril to go around. So there's going to be a lot of mining that's going to happen. And dope, bro.
It's like copper. It's like copper in Middle Earth by the Third Age.
What about
just easy to find?
King
worthless.
Durin? He brings the 7 rings to the other dwarves, and he's like, "You can have a ring, but you have to give me a 50% tax on everything you mine, right?" Dude, what a totalitarian. That is some wild greed.
That's capitalism out of control, which I think
That's
Tolkien
the
should have
ring.
warned us
I
against.
mean, we see the ring already start to take effect and have like evil influence on Durin,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
weird
I think
because that's not supposed to happen. I didn't think Sauron had any, manipulation with the rings. It's not until he creates the One Ring where he can rule and corrupt all the other rings. But they're like, nah, fuck it. This guy's getting corrupt ASAP.
Ringer said this is like the least terrible episode
The least terrible episode in the show's entire history.
of Rings of Power, and
I
I'd say
enjoyed
it's probably
it.
the least terrible. It's the least terrible this season, but in the sense that I think Rings of Power is finally finding its niche, and like this franchise is at its strongest when someone's being corrupted by jewelry.
Cast it into the fire! Destroy it!
And we're finally back at that point. Durin's being corrupted by a piece of jewelry. And then
Just
like
a big
everyone,
old build-up.
yeah. So, I think it's sort of, and also like, by the way, what's his
Slowly
name?
hooking them all in.
Yeah. Who's the Numenorian king? Pharazôn?
Yeah, the new one.
Who is already extremely corrupt. So once he gets like a ring, he's going to be like uber corrupt.
Do you think he's getting the
know.
ring?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There's
I think he'll be one of the Nazgul because this show doesn't give a shit about continuity. What do you think about his son, Seaman, or what's his name, Keeman?
Kevin.
Let's call him Seaman.
Let's
Let's
call
call
him
him Seaman,
Seaman. What a piece of shit. Good acting though. I mean, like it's been a while since I've disliked the character on screen, and you dislike this one, that's for sure. He's like, oh, please don't hurt me.
Zuckerberg this episode, yeah, he went full Mark Zuckerberg, like a penis this episode. Actually, like a gigantic penis, just like saying, hey, you can't even worship here.
Yeah, they take
Facebook
off the,
is a platform for all creeds. Numenor is a platform for all creeds, and we can't have like you practicing like a single religion here. So I'm destroying your statue. Oh, here's your statue. Whoops, Butterfingers.
It's gone.
Like, what are you, a receiver for the Panthers? Gosh, it's like you just dropped that thing.
I heard they got booed in their entrance in their home game.
Was it?
Season.
Yeah, it was like their
wow.
the first home game they've lost in 16 years.
That was a lie.
I don't know. It might be. I think that's like what the bartender said
16
when I
years.
was watching it.
Panthers have lost
they've been
several
around-
home games. Are you talking about Numenor?
No. The first home game of the season.
Oh, the first. Okay, just the first home
I think
game.
the first one
okay.
they've won. Like the first one.
Yeah,
they've
I
lost
thought
in
you
16
said-
years.
The humans are going to do human things. They're going to be. I don't know. I liked how they cast the ship captain out. I think he's like probably one of the strongest actors on the show. Isildur's
one of the few
father.
likable ones.
He's one of the likable ones. Yeah, that's for damn sure. Pharazôn sure isn't in that.
We know
Blind Queen's
Sauron's
not
going to kill
either.
his ass though.
Don't miss Trump next time.
Bum bum bum. Yeah.
Spoiler. Well, apparently, like both he and Gil-galad are the ones who actually, I think, fight Sauron in the end, and then like Isildur just comes in like a garbage man and just like takes him out when he's weak.
So those two kill in the books anyway. Those two kill Saruman, and then Isildur cuts off his hand and takes the ring.
Yeah, but
And then in the
it's
movie, he
like,
just sticks his hand out and then gets made fun
Sauron's
of
trying to.
by the pitch guy, Ryan George.
It's weird in the movie because like Sauron said like
I mean, this guy's really good at killing. Okay. And then he like reaches out to this human, Isildur, who cuts off his finger, which makes the ring fall and destroys him. Why did he reach out for him? To kill him, I guess. Did he not have a weapon? No, he did. He had like a big mace thing. So why did he reach out with his hand? I don't know. All right, then keep your secrets. Anyway, so
he kills Isildur with his sword, just sort of like reaches out for Isildur with his hand, and then Isildur uses it to like chop his fingers off.
Ka-cha!
That makes no sense logically. Where like Sauron should have just like tried to kill with the sword.
Well, you're only vulnerable at one point.
Still
Why
a
would
million
you
times
ever-
better than this show, though. Still a million times better than this show. Let's not.
But you know what I'm saying is, so if that scene came out now, we would make fun of it. What about in The Hobbit, right? Just the book or the movie adaptation, when like they're trying to get into the mountain with Smog and like they can't read the map or the map's not working, and then like it hits like the sunlight or the moonlight just right and has like the right time of the year. and it's like the right moon that they can like open up the secret entrance into the mountain, and that's how Bilbo gets into Smaug. Dude, that's so contrived. Like if that was written today, or if Rings of Power did that, we would rip that to shreds. But because Tolkien wrote it, we're like, go on, continue. The veil is just being shattered. Guys, Star Wars writing has always been bad.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
And it'll probably continue to be bad, not for the same reasons it was before, but because there's bad writers in charge of Star Wars now. But maybe sometimes we just need to suspend disbelief a little bit and just let the TV show ride.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Besides, fuckers, you got 5 seasons. We got 3 more to go. And this podcast ain't going anywhere. So you might as well start just like Stockholm Syndrome. Might as well just start fucking enjoying it, because we will be back for season 3.
I know, it's like, well, is it Bezos stepping down as CEO?
Yeah, he stepped down a while ago, but he's still got influence. He's still got his millions of shares. This is still his baby.
But I mean, if I can see like if the new CEO cancels it, he can be like, well, Bezos can be like, well, I wouldn't have canceled it when I was CEO, but I'm not CEO, so it's not my decision anymore. So
this is how it goes. Jeff Bezos walks onto a yacht party, and they're like, "Hey Bezos, how's your Rings of Power going? Nowhere near as Game of Thrones." And then Bezos calls up, he's like, "Drop another $100 million on it. Let's go."
Well, you would think if it's truly his baby, then he would actually, care about the quality and care about.
I'm thinking like even Jeff Bezos could write better than this.
This is the second swing and miss by Amazon. If you want to get the fantasy nerds with stuff that they truly love and truly adore, this is the same thing with Star Wars that I've said in the past too. You have to get the core fans, and then you can get some of the fringe people interested. Right, you can make a few minor changes. You don't have to be 100%, but you still have to be like 96, 97%. You have to be close. And there's a few different things you can do. But what they're doing with Wheel of Time and what they're doing with, Tolkien, they don't care about the fans who have grown up with this. They care about getting the new people to watch it because it's the next Game of Thrones. It's all about that money.
It's all about subscribers. It's all about getting new Amazon members.
And that's also why we have this week by week by week by week. We'll drop the first 3 episodes, and then if you want to get through all 10 episodes, you're subscribed for 3 months.
Gotcha, bitch.
So they made $30 off of you.
And more importantly, once you get that 2-day shipping, you ain't never coming back. You ain't never coming back from that sweet hair.
And I can't think of an instance
that is pretty
where
nice,
the hardcore fans love something that the general audience hates. I can't think of that scenario. Usually, if the
Watchmen movie, maybe.
Oh, I mean, I don't think
I love the Watchmen movie.
See, hardcore fan loves the Watchmen movie.
All right, so
I'm a hardcore Watchmen fan. I didn't love it. I mean, it was okay. It was.
Well, damn. I'm sorry. You have to find. I have to come up with an example where every hardcore fan loves it, because that's gonna be really hard to do.
I will say this: The Boys is a great example. The Boys. There are so many things that they take a few liberties with, but for the most part, they stay mostly true to the story. But
true to the soul of what The Boys is about.
But then you have
it's not. Yeah.
I think The Boys is done better for the fans.
I think you're onto
these
something.
Other shows.
I think Forrest is onto something with soul. And you're absolutely right, Matt. Getting back to the heart of Lord of the Rings, which is corruption via jewelry. That is the soul of Lord of the Rings.
Well, let's all agree that at least Garth Ennis approves of The Boys TV show, despite the changes it made. But Tolkien can't be consulted with or
Because he's dead.
Apparently, like his son Simon or whatever, whoever the turncoat is, the Simon Tolkien, the story consultant.
But
so like the Amazon's like, oh, this Tolkien loves it, so it must be okay. And it's like, well, you fired your Tolkien lore expert,
right?
And I think like they just like every show needs to have like a lore expert that all the scripts have to go through them, and if the script doesn't get approved by them, they have to redo it.
And that's a great point too. That's a great point too.
Debug their script.
On Wheel of Time, they got rid of Brandon Sanderson, who was for the first season was on the crew, but they kind of pushed him to the side and just never came back.
And in juxtaposition,
invited to lunch,
the Acolyte, Leslie Headland brought in writers into the writers' room who had never seen any Star Wars properties before, because they wanted to appeal to a new audience, right? So no, we don't need any nostalgia, we don't need any of that, right? We'll get some fresh eyes here in the writers' room, and that's who's going to write our Star Wars.
And you know how we'll get the fans? We'll put Dark Plagueis here and Yoda here. Yay, they'll like that, because
that's how we'll get a season 2. No, that's how we'll get a season 2.
And then you have Ahsoka, which was like not made for new fans. It was only made for fans. It was only made for fans of Star Wars Rebels. And, that was not accessible to new fans at all.
I wonder how Rings of Power is playing out for the normies. Comment down below. If you're a normie, if you're not super big on Lord of the Rings, are you enjoying this?
No.
Wrong. You're wrong.
Once again, my good friend, my neighbor, she loves this show.
Yeah,
she the second it comes out, she's into it. And we had dinner together the other night, our families, and I'm like, so how are you liking this show? 'Cause me and my friends and I, we're hating it, but we're nerds and we know the story. And she's like, oh, I love it. I've never read any of the books, but I love it now. I want to read the books. And it's like, I guess it's a good thing, because now you want to read the books, the Silmarillion, which is good luck to that.
It's only 30 pages, right? Like the entire second age is covering 30 pages?
Yeah,
maybe if that.
Nuts, but I mean, it gets them interested in, the books in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think for most people, this show is the ratings have dropped by half from last season. So the hardcore Tolkien fans hate it. The general audience isn't tuning in.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. The first season, I want to say, as much praise as I've given this show, which is too much, I want to agree with. The first season was absolutely unwatchable garbage trash. 5% on Rotten Tomato is 3% too much. But the season's slowly turning around. And for some perspective, I enjoyed Wheel of Time Season 2. Wheel of Time Season 1, again, absolute garbage fire. Right? Wheel of Time is my favorite fantasy series. They butchered it. They killed my boy. But now I'm just numb to the pain, and I like the new direction that they've taken it, because it's different from the books.
The user score at the moment on season 2 is 58%.
Watchable.
85% for critics, though.
Have you heard of Stockholm Syndrome? That's all I'm asking you guys to do.
So Rotten Tomatoes, I'm having the same issue with my YouTube people too, is that critics, in order for them to get the early release, to watch it a week earlier, to get the access, consistently we see the critics give it a high score for opening up a broad news story, expanding Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, which we've never heard before, the Wheel of Time, and this. We always see these critic scores in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then the audience scores from 5 to 50. And it's sad, because I really have been, Rotten Tomatoes especially, been really disenfranchised with that site, because it's never balanced. There's very rarely do you see a consistent.
The audience and critics are always so far apart.
100%.
But when they're aligned, it's fucking good. That's the thing, though. It's just like America. It's so fucking polarized that when the two parties come aligned, it's going to be an epic
when
fucking
everybody's
2
getting
hours.
that 100%, or when everybody's getting it a 0. Maybe this is a
proper outing, right? Yeah.
The movie Am I Racist still sitting on a 99% audience score.
Oh, and there's a new one too. It's a new God's Not Dead, where a preacher runs for president or something. I don't know. I watched a trailer for it the other day. and it scares me that these are being made into movies.
Wait, it scares you? I was like, I haven't heard about this, but touche to Matt for going out and watching Christian conservative movie trailers. But it scares you? It shouldn't scare you. It's just an expression of art. All art forms should be available to the public. No one's putting a gun to your head to go buy the ticket.
Exactly. No, I have no problems with these movies being made.
Okay.
It's just, it scares me when I see a trailer like this and think that it's actually going to make money. Because it does.
What's scary about it?
Yeah, what's scary about capitalism?
We won't get into this, so we'll skip the politics this week.
This week. Look, if it makes more money than Concord, then I think Concord needs to have a come to Jesus moment.
Dude, okay.
Hit those rim shots.
Sony, we spend a lot of money, therefore you must it's like, no, that's not,
I don't have
that's
to
not how it works.
Yeah.
But what I think I'm gonna like is the next couple of episodes, because the Orcs have come up on the man city of Oregon, and we all know how that's gonna end, right? For the book readers out there, spoiler alert, 3, 2.
Oh, did they
poorly. Yeah, it's also in the trailers.
So
they get
the
their
Orcs,
ass.
the Orcs are not gonna fight because their families are gonna
Do we want to talk? All right, let's talk about woke Orcs for a
And-
second. How do you guys feel about this? All right, so this orc has a family, and he doesn't want to fight, and he's trying to get an education system set up because he pays property taxes.
We draw orcs from the how they're created. They are created, and we hand them a sword, and they're like, "Argh." And now they have families. No, that's not how it works. It's not how.
It could be a degradation of society. It could be a fascinating take on society, Matthew. That way back in the Second Age. Because that's where we're at, Forrest. Way back in the Second Age, all the orcs cared about were families and friends and blah, blah, blah. And weak men led to weak times. And weak times lead to hard times. And hard times lead to hard men. Cue Lord of the Rings when you just have those orc eggs and they just come out and you just hand them fucking giant swords. And you've got a guy with white fucking paint and just fucking orcize your face or whatever. And then you just fucking keep marching on. Oh, dude, I just got so hard. Sorry, guys. Damn, Lord of the Rings is so good. I might just go watch that. I mean, we'll probably finish Rings of Power, but if I just talk about Lord of the Rings afterwards, oh my goodness. Forrest, do you have any takes on woke orc families and their 401ks?
Work families.
Work families.
Well, that was last episode, right? I don't think we saw any female orcs.
No, that was last episode, but it's still controversial, and I'd still like to talk about it.
Yeah, it was a dumb decision. They shouldn't have done it. Let's not even touch that with a 10-foot pole.
They're
trying
to make the orcs not completely evil.
Go there.
Why give some sympathy to the orcs?
Yeah, why are they trying to make us feel sympathy or relate to the orcs?
I do the orcs. I feel more for the orcs than I do for 90%.
But you shouldn't. I feel like that's just good writing on their part.
Well, no. It shows how bad the writing is because I don't care about the characters you're supposed to root for.
I don't think they want you to root for those characters. Dude, who is writing Galadriel like such a bitch and be like, yes, this is a girl boss I want to be friends with. No one, dude. Galadriel's like the most unlikable person.
They despise Elrond. They despise Celebrimbor. They hate Durin the Fourth.
They are bringing my man Celebrimbor back. But
rooting for them.
I do want to say I watched a YouTube clip of a Lord of the Rings video game from the Second Age where they showed a very super dope Celebrimbor. He looked fucking badass and awesome. Not like this.
Oh yeah,
fluffy L'Oreal hair fucking model that Celebrimbor we have now. So with that context, I'm like, yeah, this guy's a little fucking pussy. But I mean, besides that, Matt's neighbor knows none the wiser and is totally fine with that character. I love how he gets fucking gaslit too. These dwarves are going mad with greed from, the taint of Sauron making the rings, and then he just Anantar just gaslights Celebrimbor. He's like, no, you tainted the rings because you wrote that letter saying that you shut down the forge when you didn't, and so it's your fault. And I'm just like, oh yeah, gaslighting 101. So the writers do know how to gaslight. They're doing it in the script, and they're doing it to the audience.
Apparently so. I thought it was kind of weird how the female Smith elf, the female elven smith girl who looks like Galadriel turned invisible this episode.
Dude, different rings, different powers. She went into the unforeseen land. Oh, I just brain farted on what it's called. And then afterwards, she's like all shooken up. And then Xanatar's like trying to comfort her. And she's like, girl, I think you look just like Galadriel. And then she is like, oh, I'm so flattered by that. It's mind blowing. Whenever I see a girl looks like Lizzo, she just slaps me in the face. It blows my. I don't understand it at all.
I think they're gonna make all 9 rings this season. Farazan's gonna get one.
When is he gonna make the one ring? That seems like a real season finale cliffhanger, right? But it's too soon for season 2, or is it?
I don't know.
Rob, when do you think? When's he gonna make the ring of power? When do you think the one ring's coming? He's making the 9. So we got 3 rings for the elves, 7 rings for the dwarves. We're talking about doing the 9 rings. We got a couple episodes left.
We need some more.
We need some more. We need at least one more. But he makes that in Mordor, doesn't he?
He said he was gonna make them himself.
Ooh, well, he's gonna
overthrow
Adon. That's exactly what he said. That's a good fucking point. And he does make the one ring by himself. I think are we gonna see the one ring by the end of season 2? This seems like a season 3.
And then they had a little reference to one of them was invisible or in a different realm or something. Or,
yeah, like
is that what they were teasing there?
Like the Frodo ring, basically.
Yeah,
the Frodo ring, the one ring. Yeah, he's like, ooh, I remember that combination because that going invisible sounds real helpful.
Just see Matt over there muted, like.
Because you see, when you're in that realm, you're supposed to be able to see everyone in like their true form or whatever. I think that's what he says. So it'd been like absolutely hilarious if she like looked over at like Anatar, aka Hellbrand, aka Sauron, just saw like the evil man he was, just like a flame spirit or whatever. And then she just like takes the ring off and just starts snitching. She's like Sauron, Sauron, Sauron. Then,
it's all him.
Bum 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 bum.
But is she?
Robert Wilde credits come up.
Too much corruption happening.
Gollum would not have killed his brother over this show.
Oh, I did like the little bit of Gollumness where, like, King Durin, he's set down his ring. He's like, "Where's my ring?" He's like going mad. He's like looking for his ring, and then like his advisor's like,
right.
"You set it down right there. You said your hand was getting heavy."
Yeah, I knew that. That's.
Oh, my hand's getting so heavy from this ring.
It's already feeling it.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, my king's getting a little tired from wearing a ring. Maybe you should not be king anymore. Maybe Kamala Harris should take over.
He also had a hand where, like, every finger had some jewelry on it, except the one.
Except that one, yeah. But guys, I think much like the Rings of Power, this might have been one of our better episodes. Are you excited to watch the rest of this season, Robbie?
I'll do it for the show.
Do it for the show. I'll get you amped up.
Do it for the pod.
I'm gonna send you some memes. You'll be all. No, I can't. There's no memes. I'll get you jacked up. But Matthew, are you gonna watch the finale with us?
I'll just watch the reactions to it. That's been better use of my time than actually watching this.
See what everyone else is saying.
You know what,
about it.
Guys, subscribe because next week we're gonna replace Matt with his neighbor, who's gonna have some lovely insight on Rings of Power. Forrest, are you excited? When do you think it's going to happen this season?
No, I'm not excited, but I'll keep watching because we've made it this far. And
doing it for the pod.
Commitment. That's what we're here for.
They're definitely teasing. They're definitely teasing the fall of Numenor, though.
It's going to happen.
I think. Yeah, because like, what's his name? Farazan was like, he's very upset that the Numenorians are only semi-immortal, but they're not truly immortal. So they hate elves because of that, and they're gonna. I think for some reason, Numenor gets flooded. We all know, but I think it's the Valar that do it, not the elves. But
I thought it was. I thought it was the Riddler broke the levees, and that's how Numenor flooded.
Yeah. I mean,
oh wait, that's the Batman. My bad.
Yeah, like riddle me this: how do you waste $1 billion on a TV show and then watch it?
I would rather watch Morbius again with you guys than watch this season.
That was
it's Morbin time.
It is.
It's Morbin time.
I will say this. I would actually do a live reaction
kind of funny.
to Madam Web before I would watch this show.
You're not going to like my opinions on Madam Web. It's incredibly watchable. It's not great. It's not good. But it's not worth all the hate. It is definitely something you put on in the background, and you can knock out 5 loads of laundry, 3 rounds of dishes. You can vacuum the whole fucking house. It is not a problem. I will say,
it's
though,
background noise while you do other things.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
It's 100% background noise. But this is a fun and dumb way to end the podcast. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Are you enjoying Rings of Power? Let us know down below in the comment section. Stick around by hitting that subscribe button because we're going to be sticking around for all 5 seasons of Rings of Power. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And, how many 3 more weeks of this torture?
The power of 1, the power of 2, the power of 3 weeks till the finale.
Hey, next week, Pink one?
And Agatha.
Agatha
all along.
No.
Remember me? I was like, no, I don't remember.
I would rather watch Rings of Power than Agatha.